I told you guys that I wanted to talk to you about a very specific kind of exhaustion. We talked just recently about how being too busy is such a great excuse for not doing the things that we know we need to do. And there's a certain kind of tired that comes with being busy. There's a certain kind of exhaustion that is associated with just that overwhelm, right? And one thing that I think we should do is start describing it because I think when I name it today, you're going to feel seen in maybe a way that you haven't felt before. Um, and it's not physical tired, it's not even cognitive tired, which is what I talked about at the chamber this week. This is the tired that is directly born from never getting to not be the one. It's a tired from being at all times the person that other people orient towards. You are the one who holds the room, you're the one who reads the situation, you're the one who adjusts. Especially if you can feel the energy in the room is different. And you're the one that keeps things moving because you're thinking about those things, you're preparing for those things, you're analyzing, strategizing, and organizing. And nobody really talks about this, and nobody warns us about this kind of tired, especially when we are in leadership positions, and especially when we're in a growth stage of leadership. We just get handed more responsibility, and people call it success. Like, congrats, right? Um, and that's whether you are a corporate leader or a business owner. And there's a term for this, but the term for this we usually apply to personal lives and not professional lives. And I want to argue that it applies to both. It is no less more applicable in personal or professional. And the term is emotional labor. Emotional labor. It is the ongoing, often invisible work of managing everything in our lives, our emotions, other people's emotions, so that the environment stays functional. And when I say emotion, a lot of times we think about maybe like a toddler that's having a temper tantrum, and that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about where you're leading a meeting and you can tell people are not engaged, or you can tell someone's pissed, and you feel like maybe you need to address their concerns and their resistance before they've even actually named it. They haven't processed their own emotions yet, but you are not only aware of it, but you're already starting to think about how you're going to navigate it, right? And being the one, being the leader, right? We often carry a disproportionate share of it. We are managing up towards our leadership, across our peers, and down to our teams. We're managing client relationships, and then also supposed to be managing our own emotions as well. I'm reading an incredible book right now on burnout, and I'm really inconsistently reading it. But it talks about how our emotions never get fully processed. So we end up in this state of burnout because there's no closing of the loop. Like, we get angry or frustrated, or whatever it is that we're navigating, and then we just kind of are like, okay, I'm going to put a little lid on that bottle and I'm going to keep it going because I got stuff to do. And so we never close the gap on those emotions getting processed. So it's not like we need a 7 day long retreat in Bali, although also, yes, thank you, please, let's do that. But it's not like that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about like having that space to process, and that processing never happens, especially for self, because we're so busy managing it and being aware and trying to preemptively avoid those situations personally and professionally. And the problem is that when we are regulated, our team is regulated. When we wobble, they wobble. So we hold it every day, often without anyone else holding it for us. And it's like this invisible line in the job description that never gets discussed, right? It's just kind of this unspoken. expectation. And what this does to you over time is you stop having access to your own internal thoughts, your own internal dialogue. You start not trusting yourself. You start overthinking decisions. You start reading the room and allowing the room to be the one that determines how you show up instead of you coming in and leading the temperature in the room. You're responding to the temperature in the room. You no longer have a good understanding of your own thought leadership because you're worried about everybody else's. Leaders that experience this often describe to me, like, and in my private client calls and in my nest group, they describe this as a numbness, like this creeping numbness. It's not like a clinical depression. It's not like some dramatic burnout. It's just kind of this flatness, this unbotheredness, but not this chosen unbotheredness, more of this like I'm surviving unbotheredness, right? It's almost a sense of performing at life instead of proactively making decisions. We're just performing, right? Because if we put on that mask, then everybody else is going to be okay, and that's what needs to happen. And it's not sustainable. And I'm all about sustainable leadership practices, and this is just not sustainable long term. And so we end up hating our jobs, hating our lives. We can't put a finger on it. We can't express exactly why. Like I actually read that in a comment the other day on Facebook. Someone said, I don't like this, and I just can't exactly express why. It's because she's the one carrying all of that emotional burden, right? Um, all of that emotional labor. So, you know that you love your work, you know that you're good at it, but you maybe are not quite as passionate about it as you were previously. You're not even sure when that switch flipped, but it has. And research on emotional labor in leadership specifically shows that sustained emotional regulation, our ability to keep ourselves closing that gap on our emotions, um, but without adequate recovery, is going to create an emotional depletion. And it shows up as disconnection in our teams, reduced empathy, and decision fatigue. What's great is, and I say that very sarcastically, we often present this as competence. We often present this as like, oh my gosh, she's navigating so much, but look at what she's getting done. Look at what he's getting done. He's so great. If I can just be that. And so we praise it. And what we don't see is the behind the scenes. But guess what? In the line of work I do see the behind the scenes. And I can tell you, those people that you're looking up to are not holding it all together very well. They are struggling every single night. They are struggling in their meetings. They are doubting themselves. They're doubting their purpose. They are thinking about quitting their jobs. Every single one of them. My guess is maybe you too. And so, how do we fix this? What do we do? So, we cannot just take a vacation and fix it. We need to be doing two things. Number one, being in community, and that community can look like a lot of different things, but people who are carrying that same weight in their own lives, they are going to help you release it for themselves for you and them, because you don't have to perform anymore. You don't have to manage them, right? You just get to exist as a whole human yourself for a minute. And that is super restorative. And then the other thing is closing that gap, creating space in your life. And maybe that's in a group or maybe it's individually, but making sure that you're creating space in your life to close the loop on that emotional labor so that you can reconnect back into your own decisiveness, into your own empathy with your team, your peers, your boss, yourself. Connect back to your own thought leadership in knowing that you are experienced and you do bring a lot to the table. That's what I watch happen with my clients. That's what I watch happen in the nest. And it's a really beautiful thing. So maybe we should spend a little bit of time thinking about those things, right? If this is something that you connect with, if you feel very seen in this moment, just know that you're not alone. I work with a lot of people that do. the same kind of work and navigate the same kind of challenge. So you're super not alone in that. I want you to take it seriously, though. This is not a sign that something is wrong with you. It's a sign that you're going through a very normal thing, but also that you need to get yourself some support, whatever that may look like for you. The nest is open right now. A few spots have already been taken, but I would love to invite you to apply if you're a woman in leadership and need some supports, want a community, want a space to be coached and to grow. This is here for you. And I would love for you to take advantage of that. So amycapello.com/nest or DM me or send me an email, info@amycapello.com. Let's talk about whether or not this is the right time and space for you to be to get the supports that you need. I will be closing the group when we hit our 12 women. But if you are interested, some of the spots are taken, but not all of them. And so I'd love for you to still apply and have that conversation with me. Talk about whether or not this is the right place for you to get those supports so that you can stop being the sole person to carry that emotional burden. The time to put that down is now. The time to put that down was before now, but really now, if you haven't done it yet. All right, I'll talk to you guys soon. Y'all take care.